Hi, Larry Horist here again, and welcome to So There 'Tis. I don't know if you watched the hours and hours of debate, but I did, and I guess it's part of my job to do that. But a lot was said about this one being a winner, that one being a loser, and what's said, and who had a clever line, and who had a breakout moment, and all the things, blah, 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 the pundits do. I had a different take on it. Some of it I saw reported in the aftermath, some of it I didn't. But the take I had on it was stunning to me, absolutely stunning, to see 20 Democrats, most of whom were identifying the problems in our society very well. They talked about the mass deportation of people seeking asylum. They talked about the criminalization of different things, of putting too many people in jail. They talked about health care problems. They talked about all of this stuff. They talked about and even said, some of our cities are more segregated than they were in the past. People are living in worse conditions than they did in the past. They identified problem after problem after problem after problem. Now, a lot of those problems were occurring during the 8 years of the Obama administration when Joe Biden was vice president. So they tagged him not only with that, but with what he did 40 years ago on busing and this and that. So they were attacking the Obama administration. They attacked him on health care, they attacked him on criminal justice, and they attacked him on immigration and a few other things. Those policies, those hardline policies on crime, were not just a matter of Joe Biden. No, as a matter of fact, hypocritically, New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, who was the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, when he was mayor in his first time in office, he introduces stop and frisk. He brings in the consulting firm of former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani. He then takes a very hardcore, and he got attacked for it in this new environment. Kamala Harris, as the as the California senator, and once the prosecutor in California, she takes a hit for being tough on crime, for being put all these 1,500 marijuana smokers in jail while she laughed on a radio show that she had smoked marijuana. Now, all of this got kind of played out. But there was more. There was the attack on the inner cities. Now, I shouldn't say attack. There was criticism, or at least pointing the finger at the inner cities, talking about segregation is worse in Los Angeles today than it was before. This is worse, that's worse, jobs are worse, crime is worse, everything's terrible in the inner cities. And they're right. I've just spent a lot of time in the inner cities of Chicago primarily, and I've seen what happens in the worst of the worst areas. I've been there when shots go off in the night and you don't know if one of your kids or one of somebody else's kid is just going to get killed in a random shooting. I've been in those communities that don't have jobs. I worked for the school district as a consultant for a while in Chicago. I saw the deprivation of education in the inner city at the same time the white schools are getting good education. How can that possibly be? Now, the common denominator of all of this criticism and this warnings and this fear that were put out by the Democratic candidates is due to the Democratic Party. Donald Trump said, Baltimore's a terrible place to live. Now, I haven't been to Baltimore, but I've been into areas in Chicago where the people say, this is a terrible place to live. We are being oppressed. We are suffering. We are dying because of the policies out of City Hall, and the City Hall is the Democratic Party. Now, not only is this sin, this blight on America, the fault of the Democratic Party, It has been going on for more than 100 years. It has been going on since blacks from the South began migrating for jobs in the North, and when they were subjected to brutality, when they were subjected to prejudices, to no jobs by the whites who were running those systems. And in a lot of ways, the same type of people are running those systems. And it doesn't matter, and this is the funny part, it doesn't matter if the mayor is black or white if they don't change the racial, prejudicial, institutional, de facto racist systems. And they don't because it's the source of their power. That's right, it's the source of their power. Baltimore, billions and billions of dollars have been poured into Baltimore since we started the war on poverty. And yet people go in there and say nothing has changed. Where do those billions of dollars go that were sent by Democrats to Democrats in the state, to Democrats in those cities, to do something? And you know what they did? They did something. They absconded with the money. They, their friends, their family, and everybody else. You know, it's no secret. People say, where'd the money go? Well, I don't know. I know where the money went. Go follow the money. It went to nice contractors. It went to community organizers who get $50,000, $100,000 grant and then go to Bermuda. This is what happens. You know, the money doesn't disappear. It is taken away by people without doing good for the communities. So the thing you really take away from that Democratic debate is that you don't want to live under Democrat governance. You don't want to be there. And the only reason the black community votes the way they do for the Democrats is because they've been convinced that it's this pittance of a life or nothing that will be taken away from them. And I've had Democrats in Chicago tell me that. They rely on, if you don't elect a Democrat, racial prejudice Democrat in City Hall, then you're going to lose your public housing. You're going to lose that little bit of food stamp money you get. You're going to lose that. But you're not going to get a job. You're not going to get an education. You're not going to be put on the escalator of success. And you're not going to get out of your segregated communities, not by guns, but by economic fences. Not by red line, but by the subtleties of de facto racism. And that is the damnable reputation of the Democratic Party, who has for more than 100 years oppressed the black community. And Donald Trump, when he says it's bad in Baltimore, it's bad in there, he is not, as they criticizing those people in there. He is not calling them names. He is saying it's the Democratic leaders in those party. Those are the bad people. Those are the ones we have to address. And if money goes in there, they've got to be kept out of the greedy hands of the Democratic Party. Democrats have run the education system in Chicago, which I was very close to, for many years. And I will tell you, you cannot keep an education system segregated and working at one level for the blacks and one level for the whites without intent. You can't do it by accident. You can't be that damn stupid. You have to do it on purpose. And until the black community says, wait a minute, we want out of this, and the only way out of it is to throw those Democrats out. So there it is.